your thoughts and how you succeed with this. Hi, I'm Jimi Hendrick, and this is episode 120, The Big Package, on Empower Your Pattern 2.0. This podcast is for those who desire more, who desire to live a better and extraordinary life right now. As a success, confidence, and pride coach, motivational speaker, I'm here to give you the spiritual and temporal tips to help you to overcome adversities of everyday life. January 1997, January 13th, 1997. I went to my first political science class as a major. Intro Political Analysis, taught by ex-Air Force vet Gregor Moore. Now, after class we talked about the accommodations I need. He's ready to grant those. I tell him I'm engaged to be married and at some point law school bound. He said, okay, you're law school bound. He said, you're engaged to be married. I'm happy for you. You're going to be law school bound. I'll be happy to give you a letter of recommendation. If you can demonstrate to me that you have critical thinking skills. Now that tells me something. Critical thinking skills. You might say, well, what does that have to do with the big package? What does it have to do with the big package? If you go back to my series earlier called Trapped in the Negatives, 11 Keys to Overcome Adversity, well, the master keys, the big package, and the big package key is big thoughts. You see, this is the beginning of, I think, a 4-part series called Major Critical. And it's all based on the lessons that I learned in that political analysis class through the help of Gregor Moore. You see, there's positivity in critical thinking. Can you define the variables without going half-cocked and being reactive? Not very many people can. And that's why not very many people are successful. You think about that. You define the variables and you throw out the assumptions. That was a key lesson I learned in Gregor Moore's class. In fact, all throughout this series, you're going to learn some of the key things, even in a dialogue between me and him outside of class, if that tells you something. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing. I want you to think about this, okay? Our reactive culture doesn't like critical thinking. The news media, I don't really think the news media is involved in critical analysis that much at all. Although some say that they do, they have political analysts, but it's more of a reactive approach to research methods. And Gregor Moore, let me tell you something, he would have none of it. You had to be in his class at 8 o'clock on the nose or he marked you absent. And if he had to mark you absent 2 or 3 times, woo! Even if you weren't there, you got chewed up. That tells you something about the type of man that Gregor Moore made now. Gregor Moore, that is a pseudonym. It's nothing against him. I'm just protecting his identity. Pseudonym actually given by my friend Jim Bob. That tells you something. Now, how do I know that he was into critical thinking? As the next few weeks went by, he would use a lot of his military knowledge to illustrate points in the critical thinking. Now, I don't necessarily approve of everything that Gregor Moore taught, but that's here or there. It's not a part of Empower Your Pattern 2.0, and it's not a part of a conquest of truth. Okay? So get ready. Get ready. I know you don't want to hear it, but it just is. Are you ready to receive the best knowledge that you can? Because I'll tell you something. Our reactive culture sure don't have it. Sure don't have it. You learn a lot more critical thinking from like a political science program if you're going to major something, or even communication studies involves more critical thinking. To some degree. To some degree. And so that's a huge problem. And that's what the major critical series in this season is meant to purge some of the reactivity. Yes, I was going through a 9-month depression. Okay? I was going through a 9-month depression. Didn't know really what else to do. And so your critical thinking skills and how you approach your thoughts is what matters more than anything. So let me give you some thinking here. Big thinking. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Pattern Realm. Big thinking. Big thinking that tells you that you can succeed. Big thinking that tells you you can make it. Because I'll tell you something. The enemy of big thinking is reactivity. Set up by the enemy of our souls, the devil himself. You think about that. Because we're getting to see love to play more than ever. I like what my best friend said in his podcast he did yesterday on my network. He was talking about the blame game. Who do you think is the author of the blame game? The devil. Because the devil uses reactivity. So I want you to think about this. Reactivity is the enemy of big thoughts and the enemy of success. I want you to think about that. Big thinking is your way to success. And sometimes big thinking means you sit down, you define the variables, you decide what you need to do. Because too many people go half-cocked. I see it around me, I think, almost every day. And the good news is, if you listen to what I learned in the major critical series, this is going to matter to you a lot. It's going to mean a lot. So be ready. Be ready. I developed this Conquest of Truth series so that we can get down to nitty-gritty. Exposing the reactive culture. And learning some of the core principles that I've taught Now, I hope you've enjoyed listening to Empower Your Pattern 2.0. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the Empower Your Pattern 2.0 family. Become a citizen of the pattern realm. This is Jimi Hendrix saying, don't sit there and take it. Build your dreams so you can take it. Do what others don't so you can be what others won't. Do what others don't so you can have what others can't. Choose, act, and pursue happiness. And God bless you.